And now we get to the final part of the trilogy of movies of the Evil Dead. The one that introduced me to the Evil Dead films. Army of Darkness. Yes, this is the collector's edition Blu-ray, which I will do a review after this. I'll do a review of this a day or maybe give like a few days in between these reviews, a few days. But yeah, the next video we'll see will be a review of the Blu-ray from Stream Factory. But the end to the film itself, like I said a few times, this was my introduction. I saw this first time on VHS, and like I said before, I didn't know there were films before this. I remember of course, the opening. I'm like, huh, wow, okay, something about this. But again, this was. I'm trying to think the exact year I saw this. Was it 93, 94, maybe 95 on VHS? Rented it, watched it, enjoyed it, thought it, wow, this is really different. It was funny, it was entertaining. Pretty much this, lunacy and oddball creativity. I agree with that. Really enjoyed Bruce Campbell's performance as Ash. I still do. And even in when I reviewed all three of them together long ago, I had like other problems with the film. But watching all three of these movies again, I don't really have that problem anymore, and I'll explain. Before I get into the plot, I'll mention the only two problems I have for the film. Number one, I wish this chainsaw hand was used a lot more, because I don't like the iron fist, metal fist. Fuck! I don't like the metal fist. I think that was the bad call. I think it was a bad decision, especially when they put it on all over the, the posters, and it's like he only used it in one scene. I'm like, well, technically when he chopped up Evil Ash and stuff, but I think that would have been awesome at the end. Him doing his chainsaw versus sword. People have swords. He has a chainsaw, cutting skeletons in half, and you just still get away with that. I mean, skeletons don't have blood. You just lop off a head. Chainsaw can't cut through bone. It's Army of Darkness. I don't think no one would give a shit. But, I mean, I would have preferred the chainsaw to last throughout the entire movie. Battling at the end, so you can still have the death coaster, but have the chainsaw. I still want to see that. That's why I play the video games. I still want to see Ash with a chainsaw for a hand, just 5, 6 Deadeyes, just mowing them down with a chainsaw. Like in epic fashion, but I don't think we'll ever get that. Maybe they'll put it on the show. They're not going to put it on the show. Almost guarantee it. Maybe he'll kill one Deadeye, but he's not going to have 5, 7 of them and just go to town. Kind of like if you see the Mummy with Brendan Fraser, where he's going to town the sword on all those, minions of Imhotep. I want to see Bruce Campbell do that with a chainsaw. Hell, someone do it with a chainsaw. The other one is the horror aspect missing from this. Pretty much what Sam wanted to do, Sam Raimi. First one a horror film, second film a comedy, this an adventure movie. And if you cut a couple things, it would be PG-13. Hell, honestly, if you release this nowadays, it would probably be PG-13. I mean, other than a few cuss words, a little bit of titties that you see, like a skeleton dragging some women that you see, a little bit of tits. Not really gory at all, and yeah, it really didn't need to be. I mean, the R rating doesn't really fit the film if I think about it. This is violence and horror. That's bullshit. There's not really any horror. That's my second complaint, is there's not much horror, and I prefer to have more of a horror. You still have the same setting, but I would prefer more of a horror, more horror stuff in it. But other than those two, I really do enjoy Armored Darkness. I still think it's a badass movie. I think it's a fitting finale for the franchise. Again, like I've said before, I'm trying to create my own fan edit of linking all three movies together into like a 4-hour mash. And I love the S-Mart ending. I know Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and such, they hate that ending. They prefer the apocalyptic ending. I hate the apocalypse ending. And hell, if you didn't have the S-Mart ending, you wouldn't have lines like "Hail to the King, baby," which was hell the fucking video game for PlayStation 1. The first video game was called "Hail to the King." And then you wouldn't have Ash vs. Evil Dead, because it would have been, well, what happened in Army of Darkness? Well, it was some apocalyptic endings and some apocalypse somewhere. They're not going to forward that on a fucking TV channel like Stars. But the fact takes place in normal times, you could. So they have a job because of the S-Mart ending, but they still hate on it. And I think it's a badass ending. I love the ending. But I know one time Sam Raimi wanted to call this the Medieval Dead, and they wanted to call it Evil Dead 3, but Universal said no. I guess because Evil Dead 1 and 2 were maybe even at the, I mean, people knew of the films, but if like on a cult basis, not in the realm of Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. To some of us, they're as big as Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, at least to me. But maybe the general public wouldn't know what Evil Dead was. I think that's another reason why they weren't sure about Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. First off, because Sam Raimi said, "Fuck it, no, we won't use Evil Dead for a remake, which is a piece of shit." Well, I think it's a piece of shit, but it's another video. But they're like, well, what people know who Ash was. I mean, we know what Ash is, but what the general public know. But yeah, I mean, you have the beginning of the film. That Ash, you find out he works at S-Mart. Shop Smart. Shop S-Mart. You got that? And showing a condensed version, kind of like what you saw at the beginning of Evil Dead 2, going up there with his girlfriend, played by Bridget Fonda, who I guess she was a fan of Evil Dead 2. It's like, hey, can I be in the movie? So that was kind of interesting. Of course, if you think about it nowadays, people would probably be like, who the fuck is Bridget Fonda? If you think about it, how many big films has she been in? And when was the last film she did? So, there's probably even people out there watching this going, who the fuck is Bridget Fonda? But this does a little bit better with the continuity than the beginning of Evil Dead 2 to the end of Evil Dead 1 does. Because you have shots of Evil Dead 2. Of him being dragged and going into the vortex. The Bruce Campbell versus Army of Darkness. But, of course, the ending of Evil Dead 2, you had a cameo by Sam Raimi, the Knights, the flying Deadeye blowing the head up, which I was always sad that had to be non-canon now, because, of course, at the beginning of this, there's no flying Deadeye that he blows up. In my fan cut, there will be. I just put it in a different scene, but, so in my cut, it will be. But, anyone was saying, the, one problem I used to have with the film was like, oh, he's kind of a dick. But again, watching all three of these films, I can understand why. Because think about what happens to this guy. To me, Evil Dead 1 still counts. It's just you take out the first 6 minutes. Who knows? Maybe Ash, like all the injuries he suffered, he got brain damage. I don't know, I'm making shit up, but I'm just making shit up to explain stuff that only it's because they didn't have the rights. That's why. They didn't have the rights to stuff. But even if you just look at Evil Dead 2, all the shit he went through in Evil Dead 2, cutting off his girlfriend's head off, then all the other shit that happened in Evil Dead 2. And then you look at like, holy shit, you know, all this stuff that happened in Evil Dead 2. And then on top of that, you get sucked into a vortex back in time after going through all that hell. And then the first thing they do is, okay, we're going to put you in chains. We're going to whip your ass. We're going to throw rocks at your head. You're going to get dragged like this. You're going to get pushed down a pit. You're going to have two fucking monsters attack you. And, you know, that great moment. Strange one. With that chainsaw. Cuts a head off. That's why I wanted to see more of this chainsaw. And throughout the movie. Again, that's one of my only problems with the film now. It needed more chainsaw action. I wanted... Fuck the metal hand. Stick your fist fuck your ass with the metal hand. I want the fucking chainsaw hand throughout the rest of the movie. Not the fucking metal hand. Stick up Iron Man's ass. I don't give a fuck about metal hand. Iron Fist. Well, the fuck. Give it to Iron Fist. Let him use it. But you go through all that shit in Evil Dead 2, and then whipped. Even Embeth Davidtz. So have you seen him? Embeth Davidtz? She's fucking tearing his hair, throwing shit at him. Everyone's throwing shit at him. Then knock him down. And then, you know, they were treating him like shit, so I would be cranky. After all the shit I went through Evil Dead 2, and then these people treating me like shit like this. Then not only dealing with those two, but then trying to escape, and these walls are closing in with spikes. Then he finally gets out. And hey, what does he do? He tells let those guys go. He doesn't go, fuck you guys, you're dead. Yeah, go ahead, kill him. No, he's like, let him go. You know, let him go. Henry VIII. So, he's cranky. But to me, in that moment, he's a regular guy, because if I'm in his position, I would be acting the same way. I honestly would. When I saw all three of these movies and all the theater went through, then I get there. Wait a minute, you're going to lock me up, and then you're going to whip my ass, and you're going to throw rocks at me, and then you're going to push me down a pit, you're going to have two monsters try to kill my ass, then you're going to try to crush me with spikes. I would be pissed too. But he, you know, gets the other guys free, and he's like, you know, stop fucking with me. And of course, I showed this before, but I even have this. Of course, some of the dialogue he says.
Hello, Mr. Fantasy. All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. See this? This is my boomstick. Groovy.
I love that scene. Him getting up and it's like, you want a piece? Who wants some? You want a piece of me? Huh? You want a little? You want? Huh? Huh? You face him out. And, all your shoelaces untied, and then, you know, knocks him out. Knocks the teen on his ass. The teen was a dick to him, so I don't blame him. And, you know, talks about S-Mart. This is S-Mart's top of the line. Shop smart. Shop S-Mart. You got that? And I swear, any of you primitives even touch me, bang! Psh, then blows away a Deadite with a shotgun. And, just, you know, now, how do I get back home? And then, this is my boomstick. I love that whole sequence. And then the scene that they add later where they're feeding them. And they didn't even notice, first you want to kill me, then you want to kiss me. Blow. And it's kind of like, you know, why I like Andrew Dice Clay and Veterans of Fort Fairlane. I think he's a cool character. But I don't understand why he was pissed off. It's like, you guys tried to kill me, now you want to suck my dick. You know, go figure. But then what happens? There's this possessed witch. The king's going up, but then Ash grabs him. Wait. Don't trust it. Didn't Ash. Doesn't let the king get hurt. You know, saves him. Great fight, kicking the shower, and then does the shotgun behind the shoulder. That's a very fun sequence. He does make one mistake because the wise man tells him, of course, he makes the metal hand, which I feel is a mistake. Should have been the chainsaw. Again, that's one of my only problems with the film now. Well, the sword battles. It would have been better with a chainsaw. Chainsaw versus sword. I think that'd been really cool. But they wanted a metal hand. It is what it is. That's what I did. That's why I can at least play the video games to do that. To me, the real sequel to Army of Darkness is a Fistful of Boomstick. That's my favorite game. I actually want to do a playthrough of that. I don't know if anyone will watch it because there's just a webcam looking at it. I don't have the equipment for those stuff, but anyway, that's not what this is about. Of course, the words he has to remember is Klaatu Barada Nikto. If I said it right. Oh, did I say it right? But, of course, that's from the day the earth stood still. And just, going through the forest, the evil forest into the windmill, which that's one of the scenes. I mean, the director's cut mentioned the different cuts. The director's cut, there is a love scene that didn't need to be in there, which I'm glad they cut out for the theatrical. But there's other stuff in the director's cut that I do like. The extended windmill sequence, for example, where he gets in the windmill, and just this very nice atmospheric sequence of lighting, where the windmill is getting slower and slower. Just pretty much you're seeing the passage of time that now is going from day to night. And just the way it's edited, like the angles, that brought me back to the previous Evil Dead films. I mean, of all the scenes, that felt the most Evil Dead to me. That little transition, I guess you could say. But that's not in the theatrical cut. Should have been, though. But then, of course, you have the breaking the mirror, which in one of the deleted scenes in the TV version, it makes more sense why he ran into that mirror. Because his horse was being spooked, he looks out, and some other stuff happens, and then he looks really far away into the windmill, and it looks like someone's there, and then he runs. It makes a little bit less sense in the theatrical cut, but again, that's because it got cut out. It's not even. That little scene isn't even in the director's cut where he looks and his horse is being spooked and goes in. It's only in just the TV cut and then the deleted scenes. But again, in my cut, I'm gonna put it back in. My cuts don't have shitty picture quality because I've used a Windows Movie Maker, which is a piece of shit. So it's don't have shitty picture quality. But I don't know. It's Evil Dead films. Maybe that's fine. But it'll have shitty picture quality, but it'll be the cut that I like. So I guess it's a trade-off. Yeah, it's a trade-off. When I want to watch it, I'll watch that. When I want to watch a good picture quality, I'll watch these. So, I mean, that's how I look at it. But anyway, there's the tiny ashes, which I think some people could play a bit too slapstick, but I did laugh. I laughed when I first saw it back in the day. I chuckled now. I thought Bruce Campbell handled the physical pratfalls very well. All the crazy stuff that happens. But again, that's again, other than the chainsaw hand being used more, my second problem is I would like a bit more of a horror. I can understand people being like, oh, it's too slapstick. Especially compared to, the first one and even the second one. But again, I still enjoy the movie. But that's why I said I have two problems, and that's the second one. But I mean, just seeing him being tied up and Little Ash, I always remember that scene where he looks down and the eyeball is like coming out of his shoulder. I always thought that was such a cool effect. And even, I want to say less than the first two films. It still has that nice camera work and angles and stuff, but I think the first two films have that more. But this still has that Sam Raimi. To me, this is still when Sam Raimi was worth a shit. Because I'm not much a fan of the Spider-Man movies. To be honest, I don't think they ever made a great Spider-Man movie. The 90s cartoon is great, but I don't think they made a great movie. Whether it be Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. And the most tolerable to me is Spider-Man 2, which Sam Raimi did, but I don't love them. I don't even own them. I don't have any of them. And I'm fine with it, because I'm not a big fan of him. Drive Me to Hell did nothing for me. I hated it. And I'm not going to go in depth, because that's not what this is about. The Quick and the Dead was alright, but Sharon Stone I thought was kind of miscast. Other than that, I didn't mind the film. I didn't give a fuck about Oz. I think he did another film, but I didn't give a fuck about that, I guess, because I completely forgot it. Darkman I love. Love Darkman. Evil Dead films of Darkman are definitely my favorite Sam Raimi stuff. So the more I think about it, probably the only stuff I like that he directed. I don't know, I have to think about it more. I can't remember, but this is not Sam Raimi retrospective. But I love Darkman and I love the Evil Dead films, all three. But that eyeball poked out of the shoulder, I thought it was such a cool effect. And of course, evil Ash like coming out of him and slowly ripping out of him, shooting him, and they changed it in the director's cut. I don't like the director's cut line. I like the theatrical cut line. The director's cut line is, "I'm not that good," but I like the theatrical, which is good, bad, I'm the guy with the gun. I like that. And once again, I know Danny Elfman did the theme, and he did a good job with the theme. Of course, Danny Elfman will work with Sam Raimi on Darkman. Well, I guess previously on Darkman, but also on the first two Spider-Man movies, and I believe on Oz. Danny Elfman did that. But yeah, Joe LaDuca, like I said before, he did a great job with the scores on all three movies. And it's nice that he gets interviewed on the Blu-ray, the documentary, because he didn't. On the other DVDs, Blu-rays, Joseph LaDuca, who did the music, was never interviewed, which I thought was weird. But it's nice that he actually got interviewed on this documentary. It's like, why not for the first two? But because I think he did a good job in all three movies. But yeah, of course, stuff happens. He gets to the graveyard, and he fucks up. Says, Katu, Brada. Well, of course, before that, he realized there's three books. It's like, wait a minute. There's three books? The guy didn't tell me this. One sucks him down, and he's trying to get back up, and his face is all fucked up. It does make me laugh. The other turns to this bat book, bites the shit out of him. It does make me laugh. And then the third one is the right one. It's I gotta say the words. Klaatu, Brada. Maybe I could deal with it, because, okay, he does make a mistake, but it made me laugh. He's been doing his best the first half of the movie. Plus, it's a movie that is, 80 to 90 minutes. Like, again, the stuff I've heard of the TV show really doesn't make me interested. Like, you didn't learn anything from your experience in any Evil Dead films, including Army of Darkness, and you're doing this, and you did in the very first episode, and you're the cause of everything, and there's arguments abound, and I don't want. Please don't get in that in the comments. Wait until I watch the show and watch the show. Wait for that. Please do not, because I don't want to get in those arguments. Because A, I didn't see the show, and B, it's just a headache. But this I can understand. He fucked up, but hey, he fucked up, and it was a funny scene. And the guy definitely gets punished because immediately gets a skeleton mouth in his skeleton hand in his mouth. Beat the shit out of immediately. As he goes on, he comes back, but he's bashful. He's trying to con his way out of it, but even in his face, you could tell that they don't buy it, and even he doesn't buy it. And it's that look on his face, like he feels bad. He's like, it's like, so yeah, that was the deal. But again, he doesn't really buy his BS. That's why I think that he's not. To me, he wasn't quite an asshole. Because not too long after, the girl gets taken. Now, if he was an asshole, if like the girl gets taken by a flying demon, and then he still said, "Okay, I'm gonna go," or "I don't care about her," then he would be an asshole. But he's yelling for her, and then he's gonna stay, and he riles up the troops. Then in the deleted scene that you see him only in the TV cut, he tries to go Henry VIII and get his men. He trains the guys. He builds stuff. He gets fire. Uh, Powder, gunpowder, not fire. I was going to say firepower. Gunpowder, creates that for them to use with arrows. He's training them, and he fucked up. But he's taking action. He's doing the right thing, and he's trying to rectify his mistake. And of course, Evil Ash has come back, and nice makeup on the face. Again, the guy who comes up who has a, I keep saying again, but I don't know, it's just a habit, who has an eye patch and talks to Evil Ash, that's actually Bill Moseley. When I looked at the documentary, and talk about it more in the next video, I'm like, I didn't know that was Bill Moseley until I saw the documentary. And he gets interviewed, which is cool. And then the big attack. I think, it's a fun finale. Again, of the three, Evil Dead 2 is my favorite. And I would say of all the finales, I would say I like the third act of Evil Dead 1 more than Army of Darkness. But between Evil Dead and Army of Darkness, I don't know which one I like more. I want to say Army of Darkness and then Evil Dead, but I don't want to say that because it makes it seem like I'm not giving credit to Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2 and then, is my favorite, but I love all three. I love all three movies. You get some fun stuff at the end, battle. Bruce Campbell set up this death coaster, and even in the director's cut, he fucks up a bit more skeletons with it. He's shooting more. Really cool. They took that Oldsmobile and just this beetle windmill type thing, just fucking up all these deadites. I would love to have seen the unrated. That's what I mean. I wish it was the horror unrated one. There's no cut there, but I wish it was, because imagine if that was like cutting them into bits and blood was flying everywhere. That's what I mean. That's, again, other than the chainsaw hand, him using it on them, and how would he drive? He has one hand. Then he picks up a shotgun and uses the one hand. I mean, I just, needed more horror in the chainsaw hand. But fun finale. Embeth Davidtz has become a deadite. You found me beautiful once. Lady, you got real ugly. I think he's funny in the film. I think Bruce Campbell, he did a fantastic job in the movie. I watch it again, I'm like, he's really funny. I can understand why he's cranky as hell. He fucks up, but, 5 minutes later, he's trying to rectify his mistake. Train them doing all this. And because of this, first off, evil was there before he got there. There's 2 creatures in the pit. There's the evil force and the tiny ashes that fucked with him. So evil was there before he got there. So because of him, now the evil's cleansed. And this made these 2 kingdoms get together and become even better. So it was a mistake that unfortunately cost some people their lives. But it did lead to a better thing, at least. And again, Ash was not too much of a dick watching it again. When I saw it again, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I really had a lot of fun with Army of Darkness. I mean, fighting evil Ash. Buckle up. You're going for a ride. And of course, he gets back. The apocalyptic ending where he takes the drops and he slept too long. He's in the far, far future where there's been an apocalypse. I've never cared for that ending. I much prefer the S-Mart ending, where he started with Ted Raimi telling the story. Then there's a deadite there. Because he, basically said the words. Basically. And he's fighting this deadite and shooting the shit out of it. Later, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store. Who the hell are you? Name's Ash. Housewares. And it's really fun, over-the-top sequence. Did it like he's the rifleman. It's an old TV show. The rifleman just pew pew pew. You know, hail to the king, baby. I mean, that's a great last line for a movie. Hail to the king, baby. And again, great music by Danny Elfman and Joe LaDuca. I just really enjoy it. Have a lot of fun with this movie. Very entertaining. And again, it's a great capper to the trilogy. I love all three of these movies. I actually have the second one over here. But I love all three of these. You know, it's one of my favorite trilogies. You know, Ash vs. Evil Dead, the stuff I've heard doesn't make me interested, but I will give it a shot, say, in January. And I'll watch it in one go this season. But, yeah, I love all three of these movies. You know, I've been a big fan for the longest time. I mean, again, I played all three video games. I have this Ash figure. I have this Evil Dead companion book, which is a really good book. I mean, I'm definitely a big fan. And just watching all these again, having not seen them for so long, yeah, really enjoyed it. Really liked it. And it was a lot of fun watching this again. So, thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you later. Hail to the king, baby.